Welcome to Stoic Pulse, where the ancient wisdom of Stoicism shapes a life of clarity, strength, and virtue. Guided by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we deliver daily rules and lessons to master your mind and elevate your presence. If you're ready to wield the power of silence, stay with us. This journey will captivate you to the end. True wisdom lies not in what you say, but in what you choose to leave unsaid. Phrases like, "I'll do it later," or "That's just how I am," erode respect, dimming your soul's brilliance. The Stoics understood this, as Marcus Aurelius taught. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Restraint in speech is mastery, a Stoic virtue that commands awe. Imagine a tense moment where your silence speaks louder than words, earning trust and admiration. That's the Stoic edge. Today we reveal 7 phrases intelligent souls avoid, each a Stoic secret to sharpen your clarity and presence. These lessons transform how you speak and live, forging a life of respect. Don't miss a moment. Your wisdom depends on it. Like, share, and comment. Type, "I choose wisdom." Subscribe and hit the bell for daily Stoic insights. Stay Stoic, and let's craft your unshakable strength together. Phrase 1, "I'll do it later." Our Stoic journey to wield words with wisdom begins with a phrase that seems harmless, but buries dreams. "I'll do it later." Marcus Aurelius warned, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do." This seductive promise of tomorrow robs you of today, dimming your presence and eroding respect. Intelligent men avoid it, knowing time is no ally. It's a fleeting gift. The Stoics teach us to act now, for later is an illusion that leaves regrets in its wake. Procrastination wears a mask of reason. "I'll call tomorrow," you say, or "I'll start that project when life calms down." Each delay feels justified, a small compromise. But these moments stack, forming a graveyard of intentions. The Stoics saw through this trap. Aurelius practiced daily awareness of mortality, not to brood, but to sharpen his urgency. A man who delays risks, losing what matters most: opportunities, relationships, his own growth. When you say, "I'll do it later," you're not just postponing a task. You're signaling to yourself and others that your purpose can wait. Respect fades when others sense your hesitation, your spark dulled by inaction. Consider Annika, a graphic designer with a vision for a sustainable clothing brand. For months, she told herself she'd pitch her idea later. When her portfolio was perfect, when the market felt right. Deadlines passed, her sketches gathered dust. Friends urged her to act, but later was her refrain. One day she saw a competitor launch a similar brand, thriving where she'd hesitated. The sting wasn't just lost opportunity. It was the realization that her delay had cost her credibility. Colleagues who once admired her ambition now saw indecision. Annika's story echoes a Stoic truth. Time doesn't wait for readiness. Each later chips away at your potential, whispering to others you're not serious. Seneca would call this a betrayal of virtue. He urged living fully now, knowing tomorrow isn't promised. When you delay, you hand control to chance, a Stoic said. Intelligent men act, not because it's easy, but because they know opportunity fades quietly while you wait for a perfect moment. Annika learned this painfully. After her competitor's success, she resolved to act. She pitched her idea, imperfect but bold, and secured a small grant. Her first collection launched, earning respect not for perfection, but for courage. Her presence shifted. Clients felt her drive, her resolve a silent command. The cost of "I'll do it later" is subtle but devastating. Do you feel regret over unwritten emails, unspoken apologies, or unstarted goals? Each delay trains your mind to prioritize comfort over purpose. In meetings, others sense your hesitation, their trust waning. In relationships, a partner feels neglected when promises are postponed. Respect slips as you become the man who waits, not the one who acts. Stoic wisdom cuts through. Action, not intention, defines you. Here's how to break free. First, embrace Aurelius's practice. Reflect daily on mortality to ignite urgency. Ask, if today were my last, what must I do? Second, take one small step now. Draft that email. Make that call. Sketch that idea. 5 minutes is enough. Third, track your actions. Note each completed task to build momentum. Fourth, visualize the cost of delay. Picture the opportunity lost, the respect faded. Finally, replace later with now. When tempted to delay, say, "I act today." This isn't haste, it's stoic discipline, aligning with virtue. Expect resistance. Comfort lulls you to wait. Fear whispers it's not the right time. Confront it. Epictetus would urge focus on what's yours, your choice to act. Start small. Send one message you've postponed. Each step builds your stoic core, making action your default. Others notice. Your voice carries weight. Your presence commands trust. Annika's bold pitch didn't just launch her brand. It redefined her as a woman of purpose. This principle sets the stage for our stoic path. Avoiding "I'll do it later" builds a man who seizes time. Stay tuned for the next phrase that dims wisdom and how to rise above it. Drop "I choose wisdom" in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to Stoic Pulse to live with urgent stoic clarity. Phrase 2. That's impossible. Our stoic journey to speak with wisdom continues, having seized time over procrastination's lure. Now, we confront a phrase that cloaks fear as logic. That's impossible. Seneca taught, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. When you utter these words, you don't just dismiss an idea, you declare your own limits, dimming your presence and forfeiting respect. Intelligent men avoid this trap, knowing stoic courage transforms the impossible into the merely unfamiliar. The Stoics urge us to master perception, turning obstacles into steps forward. This phrase masquerades as pragmatism. That can't be done, you say, facing a tight deadline, a bold proposal, or a strained relationship. It feels responsible, sparing you wasted effort. But beneath lies fear of failure, of the unknown, of looking foolish. Each "that's impossible" builds a wall, not around the challenge, but around your potential. The Stoics saw this as a failure of mind. Marcus Aurelius would remind us that the obstacle isn't the problem, it's our judgment of it. When you label something impossible, you surrender before the fight, signaling to others a man paralyzed by doubt. Respect fades as colleagues sense your retreat, your spark dulled by self-imposed limits. Consider Samir, a startup founder pitching a mobile app for local artisans. Investors questioned its scalability. His team flagged budget constraints. "It's impossible," Samir nearly said, seeing only barriers, market saturation, technical hurdles. But Seneca's wisdom stirred him. He asked, "What's the next step I can control?" Instead of dismissing the idea, he prototyped a small feature, tested it locally, and gathered user feedback. That step led to a grant, then a pilot launch. His app now connects artisans to global buyers, earning admiration not for perfection, but for persistence. Samir's shift wasn't miraculous. It was stoic, focusing on action over imagination's fears. The cost of "that's impossible" is insidious. Do you feel stuck, dismissing goals as unattainable? Each utterance trains your mind to see walls, not paths. In teams, others notice your reluctance, their trust waning. In life, a partner feels your hesitation to mend what seems broken. Respect slips as you become the man who quits early, not the one who dares. Epictetus would urge you to control your perception, not the outcome. Intelligent men know what feels impossible is often just uncharted, a challenge to step forward with disciplined resolve. This phrase's danger lies in its quiet defeatism. I once watched a colleague, Priya, face a project with dwindling resources. "Impossible," she muttered, her voice heavy with doubt. But a Stoic mentor challenged her. "What's one thing you can do today?" Priya researched a single workaround, then another. The project succeeded, not through miracles, but through small, persistent steps. Her presence shifted. Colleagues sought her insight, drawn to her quiet courage. Stoic philosophy cuts through paralysis. The path isn't clear, but the next step is yours. To break free, adopt these Stoic practices. First, reframe obstacles. When tempted to say "impossible," ask, "What's one action I can take now?" Second, focus on control. List what's in your power, research a call, a draft, and act on one. Third, visualize success. Picture the respect earned by persisting, not retreating. Fourth, track progress. Note each step to build momentum. Finally, replace impossible with "I'll try." This isn't blind optimism. It's Stoic persistence, aligning with virtue. Expect resistance. Fear will whisper caution. Logic will justify retreat. Confront it. Seneca's call to face reality over imagination guides you. The challenge is real, but your response defines you. Start small. Tackle one task you've dismissed as too hard. Each action reshapes your mind, making courage your default. Others notice. Your voice gains weight. Your presence commands trust. Samir's app didn't just succeed. It redefined him as a man who dares. This principle builds on acting now, forging a man who sees challenges as paths. Stay tuned for the next phrase that dims wisdom and how to rise above it. Drop "I choose wisdom" in the comments. Like this video and subscribe to Stoic Pulse to live with fearless, Stoic resolve. Phrase 3. That's not my fault. Our Stoic journey to speak with wisdom presses forward, having dismantled the illusion of impossibility. Now, we confront a phrase that surrenders power under the guise of self-defense. That's not my fault. Epictetus taught, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you deflect blame, you don't just dodge criticism, you forfeit control, dimming your presence and eroding respect. Intelligent men avoid this trap, embracing Stoic responsibility to shape outcomes. The Stoics urge us to own our reactions, turning setbacks into opportunities for growth. This phrase feels justified in the moment. A project fails, a relationship strains, and "it's not my fault" slips out, pointing to a colleague's oversight, a partner's misunderstanding, or external chaos. It's a shield, protecting your ego from scrutiny. But each deflection hands your agency to others, signaling you're a bystander in your own life. The Stoics saw this as a betrayal of virtue. Seneca would argue that blaming others chains you to their actions, while owning your part restores freedom. When you say, "That's not my fault," you tell yourself and others you're powerless, a victim of circumstance. Respect fades as colleagues sense your passivity. your spark dulled by refusal to act. Consider Ravi, a chef whose restaurant faced a disastrous opening night. Orders lagged, dishes returned cold, and customers left frustrated. "It's not my fault," Ravi told his team, citing a new waiter's errors and supply delays. His words rang true. Others had faltered, but his deflection cost him more than he knew. Staff morale sank, sensing his refusal to lead through the chaos. Regulars drifted away, feeling his lack of accountability. Reflecting on Epictetus's wisdom, Ravi shifted. He owned his part. Unclear instructions, rushed planning. He retrained his team, streamlined the menu, and apologized to patrons. The restaurant rebounded, earning praise not for perfection, but for his resolve. Ravi's turnaround was stoic. Taking responsibility restored his command. The cost of "that's not my fault" is subtle but profound. Do you feel stuck, pointing fingers at work, our home? Each blame shifts power away, training your mind to wait for others to fix what's broken. In teams, colleagues distrust a leader who dodges accountability. In relationships, a partner feels dismissed when you deflect. Respect slips as you become the man who explains, not the one who solves. Marcus Aurelius would urge focus on what's yours, your response, your growth. Intelligent men know even small ownership, admitting a misstep, opens doors to influence. This phrase's danger lies in its ease. I once saw a friend, Layla, lose a client after a missed deadline. "Not my fault," she insisted, citing her team's delays. But a stoic colleague challenged her. "What could you have done?" Layla admitted she hadn't clarified priorities. She apologized, adjusted her process, and won the client back. Her presence shifted. Peers sought her leadership, drawn to her accountability. Stoic philosophy cuts through blame. You can't control others, but you command your reaction. To break free, adopt these Stoic practices. First, own one piece. When tempted to deflect, ask, "What's my part, however small?" Second, focus on control. List actions you can take. Clarify, plan to apologize, and do one. Third, visualize the impact. Picture the trust earned by accountability, not excuses. Fourth, track growth. Note each instance of ownership with tools to build resolve. Finally, replace "not my fault" with "I'll act." This isn't self-blame. It's Stoic empowerment, aligning with virtue. Expect resistance. Ego resists scrutiny. Pride justifies deflection. Confront it. Epictetus's call to master reactions guides you. The setback is real, but your response defines you. Start small. Own one error, like a miscommunication, and address it. Each act reshapes your mind, making accountability your default. Others notice. Your voice carries authority. Your presence commands trust. Ravi's restaurant didn't just recover. It redefined him as a leader who owns his path. This principle builds on acting now and daring the impossible, forging a man who shapes his fate. Stay tuned for the next phrase that dims wisdom and how to rise above it. Drop "I choose wisdom" in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to Stoic Pulse to live with accountable, stoic strength. Phrase 4. I don't need any help. Our stoic journey to wield words with wisdom advances, having embraced accountability over blame. Now, we confront a phrase that masks pride as strength. I don't need any help. Marcus Aurelius taught, we are made for cooperation, like feet, like hands. When you reject assistance, you don't just isolate yourself, you dim your potential and erode respect. Intelligent men avoid this trap, knowing stoic humility fosters wisdom through shared strength. The Stoics urge us to lean on others, turning pride into a bridge for growth. This phrase feels noble, a badge of independence. "I've got this," you say, facing a looming deadline, a personal struggle, or a complex task. It's the lone wolf myth, celebrated as self-reliance. But beneath lies pride, whispering that asking for help signals weakness. Each refusal builds a wall, not around your burdens, but around your progress. The Stoics saw this as a betrayal of nature. Epictetus would argue that no man is an island. Our strength lies in connection. When you say, "I don't need any help," you tell yourself and then others you're above collaboration, a solitary figure who falters alone. Respect fades as colleagues sense your isolation, your spark dulled by self-imposed struggle. Consider Aisha, a teacher crafting a new curriculum under pressure. Overwhelmed by tight deadlines and student needs, she dismissed colleagues' offers to collaborate, insisting, "I don't need help." Her pride was rooted in fear of seeming incompetent, of losing control. Lessons faltered, stress mounted, and her classroom lost its vibrancy. Students noticed her strain. Peers distanced themselves, sensing her refusal to connect. Reflecting on Aurelius's wisdom, Aisha shifted. She sought a mentor's advice, joined a planning team, and shared her challenges. Their insights streamlined her curriculum, restoring her energy. Her classes thrived, earning admiration not for solitude, but for humility. Aisha's turnaround was stoic. Embracing cooperation unlocked her potential. The cost of "I don't need any help" is profound. Do you feel drained, carrying burdens alone? Each refusal trains your mind to equate help with failure, isolating you from wisdom. In teams, colleagues distrust a leader who shuns support. In relationships, a partner feels shut out when you soldier on silently. Respect slips as you become the man who struggles, not the one who grows. Seneca would urge you to see help as a tool, not a crutch. Intelligent men know seeking aid isn't defeat, it's courage, a choice to prioritize progress over ego. This phrase's danger lies in its quiet corrosion. I once knew a colleague, Vikram, drowning in a coding project. "I don't need help," he snapped, fearing judgment. Deadlines slipped, bugs piled up. A Stoic friend challenged him. "What's stronger, struggling alone or succeeding together?" Vikram consulted a peer, whose fresh perspective fixed the code. His project launched successfully, and peers sought his collaboration, drawn to his humility. Stoic philosophy cuts through pride. You can't control all outcomes, but you can choose connection. To break free, adopt these Stoic practices. First, reframe help. When tempted to refuse, ask, "How could support advance my goal?" Second, identify allies. List one trusted person, a mentor, friend, colleague, and seek their insight. Third, visualize strength. Picture the respect earned by collaboration, not in isolation. Fourth, track connections. Note each instance of seeking help to build trust. Finally, replace "I don't need help" with "I'll learn together." This isn't dependence, it's Stoic cooperation, aligning with virtue. Expect resistance. Pride resists vulnerability. Ego fears exposure. Confront it. Aurelius's call to cooperate guides you. Your strength grows through others. Start small. Ask for one piece of advice on a challenge. Each act reshapes your mind, making connection your default. Others notice. Your voice carries warmth. Your presence commands trust. Aisha's curriculum didn't just succeed. It redefined her as a leader who thrives with others. This principle builds on acting now, daring the impossible, and owning your part, forging a man who grows through community. Stay tuned for the next phrase that dims wisdom and how to rise above it. Drop "I choose wisdom" in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to Stoic Pulse to live with humble, stoic strength. Phrase 5. I already know that our stoic journey to speak with wisdom deepens, having embraced cooperation over isolation. Now, we confront a phrase that cloaks arrogance as confidence. I already know that. Marcus Aurelius warned, "You cannot learn anything when you think you already know everything." When you utter these words, you don't just dismiss insight, you close the door to growth, dimming your wisdom and eroding respect. Intelligent men avoid this trap, knowing Stoic humility keeps the mind open to life's lessons. The Stoics urge us to remain students, turning pride into a path for deeper understanding. This phrase feels like a shield, protecting your ego from seeming uninformed. I know that, you say. When a colleague shares a tip, a friend offers advice, or a mentor explains a familiar concept, it's a reflex, signaling expertise. But beneath lies arrogance, whispering that you've mastered what's before you. Each dismissal shuts out nuance, perspective, or wisdom you haven't yet grasped. The Stoics saw this as a failure of character. Seneca would argue that claiming full knowledge betrays the soul's curiosity, chaining you to a fragile image of competence. When you say, "I already know that," you tell yourself and others your mind is closed, a scholar with nothing left to learn. Respect fades as colleagues sense your rigidity, your spark dulled by self-assured stagnation. Consider Rohan, a coder tasked with optimizing a team's software. During a meeting, a junior developer suggested a debugging technique. "I already know that," Rohan snapped, confident in his decade of experience. He ignored the tip, only to spend days wrestling with a persistent bug. Later, he learned the junior's approach, a fresh perspective on a familiar method, would have solved it instantly. His dismissal cost time, frustrated his team, and dimmed his leadership. Peers began bypassing him, sensing his resistance to new ideas. Reflecting on Aurelius's wisdom, Rohan shifted. He revisited the junior's suggestion, applied it, and fixed the bug. He then made a habit of listening fully, asking questions to uncover hidden insights. His projects thrived, earning admiration not for expertise, but for openness. Rohan's turnaround was stoic. Humility unlocked wisdom. The cost of "I already know that" is subtle but devastating. Do you feel stuck, brushing off ideas as redundant? Each dismissal trains your mind to value ego over growth, blinding you to insights. In teams, colleagues distrust a leader who rejects input. In relationships, a partner feels unheard when you shut down their perspective. Respect slips as you become the man who knows, not the one who learns. Epictetus would urge you to control your pride, not your image. Intelligent men know even familiar ideas hold new angles, a chance to deepen mastery through openness. This phrase's danger lies in its quiet corrosion. I once watched a friend, Maya, dismiss a mentor's marketing advice during a business launch. "I know that," she said, certain her plan was sound. Her campaign flopped, missing a nuance the mentor tried to share. A Stoic colleague challenged her. "What if you listened again?" Maya reconsidered, applied the advice, and relaunched successfully. Her presence shifted. Peers sought her insight, drawn to her humility. Stoic philosophy cuts through arrogance. You can't control all knowledge, but you can choose to listen. To break free, adopt these Stoic practices. First, reframe familiarity. When tempted to dismiss, ask, What nuance might I miss? Second, listen actively. Give one idea your full attention, noting its details. Third, visualize growth. Picture the wisdom gained by staying open, not rigid. Fourth, track learning. Note each new insight to build curiosity. Finally, replace "I know that" with "tell me more." This isn't deference. It's Stoic humility, aligning with virtue. Expect resistance. Pride resists openness. Ego fears looking unlearned. Confront it. Aurelius's call to lifelong learning guides you. Wisdom grows through curiosity. Start small. Listen fully to one familiar idea today. Each act reshapes your mind, making openness your default. Others notice. Your voice carries depth. Your presence commands trust. Rohan's coding didn't just improve. It redefined him as a leader who learns. This principle builds on acting now, daring the impossible, owning your part, and seeking help, forging a man who grows through humility. Stay tuned for the next phrase that dims wisdom and how to rise above it. Drop "I choose wisdom" in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to Stoic Pulse to live with open Stoic strength. Phrase 6. I'm too old for that. Our Stoic journey to speak with wisdom grows stronger, having embraced humility over arrogance. Now, we confront a phrase that surrenders purpose to time. I'm too old for that. Seneca taught, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. When you utter these words, you don't just limit your actions, you resign your potential, dimming your presence and eroding respect. Intelligent men avoid this trap, knowing Stoic vitality fuels growth at any age. The Stoics urge us to live boldly, turning age into a tool for wisdom, not an excuse for retreat. This phrase slips out quietly, often disguised as practicality. I'm too old to learn coding, you say, or I can't start a new venture now. It feels like self-awareness, accepting life's seasons. But beneath lies resignation, a belief that your best chapters are written. Each utterance closes doors, not to tasks, but to your soul's capacity. The Stoics saw this as a betrayal of life itself. Marcus Aurelius would argue that age brings experience, not limits. Wisdom ripens with time, not fades. When you say, I'm too old for that, you tell yourself and others your purpose has expired, a relic of youth. Respect fades as colleagues sense your withdrawal, your spark dulled by self-imposed obsolescence. Consider Elena, a 68-year-old retiree with a passion for storytelling. She dreamed of starting a blog to share her life's lessons, but hesitated, muttering, I'm too old for that. Technology intimidated her. Peers questioned her ambition. Her stories remained unwritten, her voice silent. Friends noticed her retreat, their admiration waning as she seemed to fade. Reflecting on Seneca's call, Elena shifted. She enrolled in a blogging course, sought her granddaughter's tech tips, and launched her site. Her posts on resilience went viral, inspiring thousands. Her community rallied, drawn not to youth, but to courage. Elena's journey was stoic. Age became her strength, not her cage. The cost of I'm too old for that is profound. Do you feel sidelined, dismissing dreams as untimely? Each excuse trains your mind to see time as a barrier, not a gift. In teams, colleagues overlook a leader who steps back. In families, loved ones feel your absence when you abandon passions. Respect slips as you become the man who reminiscences, not the one who creates. Epictetus would urge you to control your choices, not your years. Intelligent men know age equips them with clarity and resilience, tools to pursue purpose with unmatched depth. This phrase's danger lies in its quiet surrender. I once knew a colleague, Sanjay, who at 55 dismissed learning digital marketing. Too old, he said, fearing he'd lag behind younger peers. His career stalled, his influence waned. A Stoic mentor challenged him. What can you learn today? Sanjay took an online course, applied one strategy, and boosted his firm's outreach. Peers sought his insight, drawn to his vitality. Stoic philosophy cuts through resignation. You can't control time, but you can choose to grow. To break free, adopt these Stoic practices. First, reframe age. When tempted to dismiss, ask, what can my experience add? Second, start small. Choose one new skill or goal, coding, writing, fitness, and take one step. Third, visualize impact. Picture the respect earned by defying limits, not accepting them. Fourth, track progress. Note each milestone to build momentum. Finally, replace too old with I'll begin. This isn't denial, it's Stoic courage, aligning with virtue. Expect resistance. Fear of failure looms. Doubt whispers you're out of place. Confront it. Seneca's call to keep learning guides you. Life demands growth until the end. Start small. Try one lesson in a new field today. Each act reshapes your mind, making vitality your default. Others notice. Your voice carries purpose. Your presence commands trust. Elena's blog didn't just inspire. It redefined her as a beacon of timeless strength. This principle builds on acting now, daring the impossible, owning your part, seeking help, and staying open, forging a man who thrives at any age. Stay tuned for the final phrase that dims wisdom and how to rise above it. Drop I choose wisdom in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to Stoic Pulse to live with vibrant, Stoic purpose. Phrase 7. That's just how I am. Our Stoic journey to speak with wisdom nears its peak, having defied age's limits with vibrant purpose. Now, we confront the final phrase that binds men to stagnation. That's just how I am. Epictetus taught, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. When you utter these words, you don't just excuse habits, you reject growth, dimming your wisdom and eroding respect. Intelligent men avoid this trap, knowing Stoic self-mastery demands change over comfort. The Stoics urge us to reshape our judgments, forging a life of continuous becoming. This phrase feels like a shield, a declaration of self-acceptance. I'm just short-tempered, you say, or I'm not good with emotions. It sounds definitive, a truth etched in stone. But beneath lies resistance, a refusal to face the discomfort of change. Each utterance locks you into old patterns, convincing you they're unchangeable. The Stoics saw this as a failure of will. Seneca would argue that clinging to how I am denies life's essence, growth. When you say, that's just how I am, you tell yourself and others you're finished. A statue set in place. Respect fades as colleagues sense your rigidity, your spark dulled by surrender to inertia. Consider Arjun, a manager known for abrupt feedback that demoralized his team. When challenged, he shrugged. That's just how I am. His excuse shielded him from scrutiny, but cost him trust. Team morale sank, projects stalled, and peers avoided him, sensing his refusal to evolve. Reflecting on Epictetus's wisdom, Arjun shifted. He examined his judgments, seeing his harshness as a choice, not a trait. He practiced pausing before speaking, seeking constructive words. His team's performance soared, and colleagues sought his leadership, drawn to his transformation. Arjun's journey was stoic. Changing his judgments reshaped his character. The cost of "that's just how I am" is profound. Do you feel trapped, justifying flaws as fixed? Each excuse trains your mind to resist growth, blinding you to your potential. In teams, colleagues distrust a leader who won't adapt. In relationships, loved ones feel dismissed when you cling to old ways. Respect slips as you become the man who stagnates, not the one who evolves. Marcus Aurelius would urge you to see yourself as a work in progress, never finished. Intelligent men know character is forged by choices, not carved in stone, a chance to sculpt a better self through effort. This phrase's danger lies in its quiet finality. I once knew a friend, Priya, who avoided vulnerability, saying, "I'm just private." Her distance strained friendships, her isolation grew. A Stoic mentor challenged her. "Is this who you choose to be?" Priya journaled her fears, shared one feeling with a friend, and found connection. Her presence shifted. Peers valued her warmth, drawn to her growth. Stoic philosophy cuts through excuses. You can't control your past, but you can choose your future. To break free, adopt these Stoic practices. First, question judgments. When tempted to excuse, ask, "Is this habit my choice?" Second, start small. Pick one behavior, temper, avoidance, and try one new response. Third, visualize growth. Picture the respect earned by evolving, not stagnating. Fourth, track change. Note each shift to build resolve. Finally, replace "that's how I am" with "I'm becoming." This isn't self-rejection. It's Stoic transformation, aligning with virtue. Expect resistance. Comfort clings to familiarity. Fear dreads effort. Confront it. Epictetus's call to master judgments guides you. Your character is yours to shape. Start small. Adjust one habit, like softening a harsh tone. Today, each act reshapes your mind, making growth your default. Others notice. Your voice carries purpose. Your presence commands trust. Arjun's leadership didn't just improve, it redefined him as a man who evolves. This principle builds on acting now, daring the impossible, owning your part, seeking help, staying open, and defying age, forging a man who crafts his soul. Stay tuned for our conclusion, where we challenge you to live these Stoic truths. Drop "I choose wisdom" in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to Stoic Pulse to live with evolving Stoic strength. Thank you for joining Stoic Pulse, where we've harnessed Stoic wisdom to forge a life of clarity and respect. Guided by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we've dismantled 7 phrases. "I'll do it later." "That's impossible." "That's not my fault." "I don't need any help." "I already know that." "I'm too old for that." And "that's just how I am." That erode your presence. These Stoic lessons replace delay with urgency, fear with courage, blame with responsibility, pride with humility, arrogance with curiosity, resignation with vitality, and stagnation with growth. Seneca taught, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." By avoiding these phrases, you radiate strength, like Arjun, who transformed through Stoic discipline. These principles craft a titan whose silence and actions command awe. Act now. Abandon one phrase today. Pause before saying "that's just how I am," and embrace change. Each choice sharpens your soul. Join our daily Stoic Pulse community. Subscribe for fresh wisdom, like this video, to affirm your resolve, share it to inspire others, and comment. Type "I choose wisdom." Your path to unshakable virtue continues. Stay stoic, pulse with clarity, and we'll see you next video.